Have you ever started something with excitement, a new habit, a business idea, or a personal goal, only to leave it unfinished weeks later? At the beginning, motivation feels strong. You feel ready and hopeful. But as days pass, life becomes busy, energy fades, and progress slows. Many people believe success comes from staying motivated, but motivation is unpredictable. It rises and disappears without warning. Real change is built on something quieter and stronger: discipline. Discipline is the ability to act even when you do not feel inspired. It is showing up on ordinary days, not just emotional ones. This story explores how discipline, not talent or luck, shapes long-term success. As you listen, you may recognize your own struggles and discover that moving forward does not require sudden strength, only small steps taken consistently. In a certain city lived a 32-year-old man named Louis. By day, he worked at a furniture shop, delivering beds, chairs, and tables to people's homes. His job paid the bills, but it did not fill his heart. Deep inside, Louis carried a quiet dream. He wanted to build wooden furniture with his own hands. His grandfather had once taught him simple carpentry, and he still remembered the smell of fresh wood and the joy of creating something real. Yet each time Louis thought about starting, he delayed. "I'll begin next month," he told himself. After long workdays, he felt too tired to try. Weeks turned into months, and months into years. The dream never died, but it grew quieter. If this sounds familiar, continue to follow Louis's story and subscribe to the channel, because his journey began not with excitement, but with the decision to stop waiting for the perfect moment. One rainy afternoon, Louis delivered a handmade dining table to a customer named Mr. Kane. The moment he stepped inside the house, something felt different. The space was calm and warm, filled with wooden furniture that looked carefully crafted. The shelves, the chairs, even the small table by the window carried a quiet beauty. Louis couldn't stop looking. Finally, he asked who had made all these pieces. Mr. Kane smiled and said that he had built them himself. Louis was surprised when he learned that Mr. Kane had once worked as a delivery man, too. Curious and slightly embarrassed, Louis asked how he managed to change his life. Mr. Kane did not speak about luck or talent. He spoke about routine. He explained that years ago he began waking up early and working with wood for just 1 hour every morning before his job. Some days he felt tired. Some days he felt unmotivated, but he showed up anyway. Louis asked how he stayed motivated for so long. Mr. Kane shook his head gently and said he did not rely on motivation, he relied on discipline. Motivation comes and goes, he explained, but discipline stays when feelings fade. Those words stayed with Louis long after he left the house, quietly reshaping the way he saw his own excuses. That night, Louis couldn't sleep easily. The words "discipline stays" echoed in his mind. Before going to bed, he took a piece of paper and wrote a simple plan. Wake up at 5 in the morning, work for 1 hour in the garage. No excuses. He taped the paper to the wall and turned off the light. The next morning, the alarm rang while it was still dark and cold. His bed felt warm, and every part of him wanted to turn the alarm off. For a moment, he almost did. Then he stood up. His garage was small and messy, filled with old wood and a few basic tools. There were no machines, no perfect setup, only silence and his hands. Louis started small. He built a simple wooden box. It wasn't perfect. The edges were uneven and the surface was rough. But when he held it, he smiled. It was real. The next day, he did it again, and the next. Some mornings were harder than others. His hands hurt, his eyes felt heavy, but he kept showing up, 1 hour, every morning. Slowly, consistency replaced hesitation, and discipline began to root in his life. Progress did not arrive quickly. For weeks, Lewis shared photos of his work online and received almost no response. Days passed with no messages, no orders, only silence. Doubt crept in quietly. Then, one morning, a small fire broke out in the corner of his garage when an old heater failed. He managed to stop it, but some tools and wood were damaged. Sitting on the floor afterwards, tired and angry, Lewis wondered if this was a sign to quit. Later, when a customer complained about a piece being unstable, the doubt returned even stronger. He missed a few early mornings and stayed in bed longer than planned. But one day, standing in front of the mirror, he reminded himself why he started. He opened the garage door again and picked up his tools. Slowly, momentum returned. One comment became one order became two. This is a fictional story, but its message is real. Discipline does not remove obstacles, it teaches you to move through. Over time, the quiet routine Lewis built began to change everything around him. His hands moved with more confidence, his cuts became cleaner, and his designs grew stronger. Orders started arriving more often, not in floods, but steadily. He opened a small online shop and named it with care, treating it like a promise to himself. Soon, the garage no longer felt enough. With savings from his work, he moved into a modest workshop. It wasn't big, but it was his. When the workload grew, he asked a friend who shared his love of woodworking to help. Together, they worked long evenings, focused and tired, yet proud. Lewis was not rich, and he didn't live a perfect life, but he had something more important: freedom. He no longer waited for motivation to appear. He simply showed up. Discipline had become part of who he was, shaping his days without effort or struggle. Looking back, Lewis realized that his life did not change because of one big moment, but because of hundreds of small choices made consistently. That steady commitment turned a quiet dream into a living reality. 1 year later, Lewis often shared his story with others who felt stuck where he once was. When people asked how he changed his life, he never spoke about talent or luck. He spoke about showing up every day, even when it felt uncomfortable. Discipline, he explained, was no longer something he forced himself to do. It had become who he was. He chose long-term goals over short-term comfort, and small, steady actions over sudden excitement. This is a fictional story, but its message applies to real life. You do not need to feel ready to begin. You only need to start and keep going. If this story inspires you, take a moment to reflect on a small step you can take today. Write your commitment to change in the comments, like the video, and subscribe to see more stories that will help you grow.